study the score sheets, kind of look at things, and you can see that if you're only going to get 10-point deduction because you don't have the corrugation on the shear, then you're looking at it and you're thinking, well, if I'm only going to lose 10 points, then I'm just going to do the best I can, and instead of keep going and going and going and over it. Look at your weaknesses and your strengths, and focus on your strengths right then. Be comfortable when you come. If you sharpen normally sitting down in your van, you're more than welcome to bring your van. We'll have an area set up outside where you can park your van and sharpen there. All the judging is monitored. We don't want you taking any phone calls or anything like that. Or if you want to sharpen in the meeting room, the conference room. If you normally sharpen sitting down on a table about 22 inches high, which is what I do, then I always bring a short table because it's not comfortable for me to sharpen standing up or sitting down where I'm, my arms are up. So just be comfortable with what you do. Don't try to change everything at the last minute. Your procedures and your process and your papers, and just do what you normally do. Don't come in here and think, well, this is a show, so my certification, so I've got to do it different. Just do what you normally got to do, and your strength will show. Attack one thing at a time when you certify. When you're working on your scissors or your clipper blades, we do the scissors and then we do the clipper blades. But work on your convex edge shear. If that's what you want to attack first, work on it, finish it, set it aside. Then work on your other one. Okay. Then if you get done, you got an extra 15 minutes. Then you can go back and maybe touch them up or wipe all the smudge, finish them up. One thing I saw several times during the certification, I see people on the floor looking for parts. They lose their washers or their screws or something like that. Bring a small dish that when you get set up, you can set your dish over here away from where you're working. That way you won't lose your parts. Okay? You'll have about a half hour, 45 minutes to get set up, where you just bring your equipment in, lay everything out, bring plenty of disc papers, bring plenty of spray, bring hair to test your shears with, bring the tissues to check your shears with right then. For the clipper blades, we will have a couple clippers there and some test string. We'll have a couple clippers there that you can use to test your clipper blades. Some of the damage that might be on a clipper blade would be the socket ears being bent out. The socket possibly be leaning forward on the blade, the ears bent that way. The spring tension could be off. The spring, one side bent higher than the other, so the spring rocks. Are you guys familiar with that? Puts more pressure on one side of the blade than the other. And then the grind on the blade. They might have a negative grind on one of the blades, meaning that when you put the blade on the wheel, if you put the blade on the wheel and you hold too much forward pressure, right, that would be a negative grind. No matter how much you adjust it, it's not going to cut. So that's some of the damage. No broken teeth. You guys don't have to weld no teeth on and smooth it out. Nothing like that. We mark the sockets. Normally, you would put a new socket on if the ear was bent real bad. But they will be able to be bent back into shape, and you should know how to do that. I know that there are several companies that sell the tools to do that.
So no swapping parts on the blades?
Huh?
No swapping parts on the blades?
No swapping parts on the blades or the shears.
Check the tension. Bring your own.
Check the tension. And I'll get into the tension while we're on it. For checking the tension, 3 pounds is what we like. Okay, can you go right here? 3 pounds is what we like. 2 3/4 to 3 1/4 is an optimal range. We feel that cuts good, and that's what we check them at. Okay.
So that's part of the judging.
That's part of the judging. You get scored for it. If your clipper tests between 2 3/4 and 3 1/4 pounds, you get 15 points for that. Okay. We test them. We test the clipper blades on a scale that we have. Okay. The way that we set up this scale is we put it on a postal scale until it reads 3 pounds in the middle of the green. You guys can look at this later. I know you can't see it. But we'll put your blade on there, and then we will turn the knob here, and we can read the poundage on it. That's how we test it. Okay, so if you don't have a clipper blade test scale, get one. I know Bob sells one. Probably, do you have some here today, Bob? Some people still test them on the postal scale, but we're going to be checking for poundage. We feel poundage is very important. The actual certification process, save for scissors. When you go to certify, we will have a bunch of manila envelopes laying on the table. Okay. At this time, only the people that are certifying are in the room. Okay, because we're getting serious here. Inside the envelope will be your 3 scissors. There'll be a convex edge, thinner, and a bevel edge. Okay. The scissors will be in a plastic case, clear plastic case. On the outside of a manila envelope, there'll just be a packaging list sealed up with a number in it. Okay. On the inside of the envelope, there'll be a number on the inside, a little cardboard number.
It's the same number that's in the envelope.
It's the same number. Okay. You don't open this one. Also, there'll be some directions on there. It says, please keep the attached number with you. Only use this envelope and shear case to turn in your shears. If you turn your shears in a blue shear case with a pink rubber band around it, it gets disqualified. We don't want somebody to say, well, he got first place and he turned his in a Walmart bag. You know what I mean? We want to keep it as neutral as possible. 2-hour time limit, okay? Always before we've allowed a little bit of extra time. This year, 2 hours. Okay? Meaning we've allowed extra time and we've deducted points. This year, 2 hours. When you're done, you're done. Turn them in the way they are. Okay? 2 hours is...
Including the clipper blades, that's the whole thing.
No, clipper blades are separate. Clipper blades are 45 minutes extra. You'll do your shears and then there'll be a small break and then you can do the clipper blades. Okay, so at this point, you turn them, the shears in to the secretaries, the judges. You don't hand the shears to the judges. You'll just hand them back the envelope that you got with the 3 shears in it to the secretaries. Okay, the secretaries will then, when it comes time to judge, the secretaries will lay the envelopes out on the table and at random just put a letter on each envelope. Okay, so in the meantime, if one of you guys came to one of the judges and said, hey, here's $100, I'm number 7. Then I'm going to be like, okay. So I take the 100 and I start looking for number 7. All right. So at this point, the judges or the secretaries has got a letter on each envelope. Letter M, T, Q, P, R, whatever. The judges will then judge the shears on the letter. Okay. And well, I'm looking for number 7. I don't see it, so it ain't gonna do you no good to try it because it's a blind test. It's a blind test. We don't know. Okay. The cut, we will take the shear out of the package. The cut we do on a collaborative effort on the shear because the more times you handle a shear, the more likely it's going to cut different. So what we'll do is there'll be a set of score sheets for each shear. This shear here is letter M. That's the only thing we know about it. And there'll be 3 set of score sheets there, 1 for each judge. We will take the shear out of the package, just like that. We'll keep it closed. We test them on this, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. We test it on this, right here. We'll take the shear while it's closed. We'll stick it on this little fixture that we got. It'll still be closed. We can do this easier. I'm just holding it up so you can see. With 3 judges sitting at the table, it's a lot easier to do. Okay. Alright. It'll still be closed. We'll put it on the fixture like that. We'll open the shear. Put the handle in it. We'll put tissue or hair or whatever we're testing that time on the blade. And then we will just pull the handle. And that'll make our cut for our test. No side pressure at all there. Okay. I don't want to... The first thing I do when I grab a shear is to make sure it's adjusted right. Okay, we don't want to do that. We want you guys to do all that. So this is the way we test them. we'll do the test cut and do the test score for cutting of the test. After that, all the other scores are done with the judges separately. Okay, I might think a shear has more scratches than it should have, and this judge might think that it looks pretty good the way it is. I think the shear might need to be convexed more. This judge might think it's convex good enough. So there it goes back into interpretation. You know, we do 3 judges. The 3 scores are then combined together and then divided by 3. So if I give you an 8, he gives you a 10, and this guy gives you a 9, and then we divide them up, then your score would be a 9. You can see that it's very, very hard for us to find out who sharpened what shear. I mean, there would have to be a lot of people involved and it's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen with Bonnie, just like it didn't happen with us. Okay. On Monday, when we do the results of the certification, we will have the envelopes laid out on a table in that order, like that. We'll announce that we're getting ready to do the certification results. We'll have the score sheets laying there with the scissors, and at that time Bonnie will probably come up and cut that packaging list open. She'll pull that paper out of there. On that paper will be the number that corresponds to your number. She'll write that number down on the envelope then. Okay. At that point, we know which scissors are which. Certification is about anybody can go out there and sharpen a dull shear real easy. I mean, or a dull clipper blade. But when you got that one shear that's got a bend in it, or got a really bad nick, or scratches, and then you put them all on the one shear itself, then it's tough. And that's what it's about, is testing you to see how good you are.